Hi, welcome to Simply Narelle Stitches, and it's time for another cross stitching update. Today is Wednesday, I know I can talk properly sometimes, 30th of April, and it's been 2 weeks since I did my last video, and I'm back to share with you what I've done. So if you watched my last video, you'll know I have been doing Spring Go. And wait a minute, I just remembered I forgot to bring something over. Alright, so Spring Go is a game hosted by Carolyn Zook and Robin Hall over at the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge Facebook group. That's a mouthful. And basically there was a board that, oops, sorry, wrong side. You put random numbers in. Each letter is one project, and then the numbers are called randomly every night or every day, and that's what you stitch on for the day. And there's 25 days of calls, but there's 35 squares on the board, so not every number was going to be called. And at the end of the 25 days you see if you got any bingos. So as you can see, I got 2 verticals and 1 horizontal bingo. I managed to keep up. I think there was one day I didn't stitch, and that I just caught up the next day and did 2. So I got 3 bingos. I'm so happy about that. I really have a hard time for a lot of these games staying on track. I will be so gung-ho at the start and enthusiastic, and off I go for probably 4 or 5 days, and then I lose momentum, something distracts me, or I just lose interest, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do anymore, and I just don't bother stitching on the rest of the things. But this time, I don't know if it was just the right time of year, or I've only sort of just in the last month and a little bit come back to stitching properly. Maybe it was just the right time for me to actually do a game like this, and so I found it really enjoyable, and I managed to get a lot of stitches in. So what I'm going to show you is all the stitching I did for Spring Go with a total number for each project. Then I'm going to show you what else I worked on. So after Spring Go, I've had 4 days since Spring Go to work on different projects. And then I'm going to have a chat about the Italian cycling race and other plans that are coming up in May. Right. So, for the S on Spring Go, I had chosen Bedfordshire Sunset, a gold collection from Dimensions, and that is what it's going to look like when it is finished. And I'm a long way from there, but it got called 3 times on Spring Go, and I'll pop a photo up of where it was last time you saw it. And over those 3 calls, I managed to get in 1,891 stitches, and this is where it is now. Apologies for the lighting, it's a bit dark down the bottom. But I do have a ring light. I can't use it because then you can't actually see my eyes. It's just like 2 round white circles, so it just looks really weird. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but I think that's okay. You can see that. So I did a lot on the roof, got the chimneys done, and then I thought, do I keep stitching on the house? Because that is so tempting to just complete the house. But then I went, I'm going to be left then with a lot of roof, trees, stuff I really, not really into stitching that much. So I worked across here and worked to the edge, and that is the very edge of it there, and that's the very top of it there. So I did that. Now you'll notice that these stitches here are full crosses, and they're meant to be half stitches. I don't like doing half stitches. For some reason, I cannot count properly if it's not a full stitch. I don't know why. Half stitches throw me out big time. So none of my projects going forward, when they call for half stitches, am I going to be doing half stitches. I'm going to do all full crosses. Now the DMC kit colors, the kit colors of floss are pretty easy to match to DMC. So I know I'm most likely going to run out of thread, and that's not going to worry me. And I know this blue is, I think, the same blue that was in my Santa stocking, and it's a DMC color that I matched perfectly when I ran it out for the stocking, because I did the same thing on the stocking. The background was meant to be half stitches, and I did them full crosses. So I know I have that blue, and I know what that blue is. Off the top of my head I don't, but I do have it somewhere. So that's what I'm going to do. So I got a lot done on that, and I'm really happy with the progress. This WIP has been hanging around, I don't know, 20 years easily. Before that, I'm pretty sure I bought this kit, and it's a kit I bought, and it's when Gold Dimensions came in a glossy bag with the twine handles. That's how old this is, and I'm pretty sure I bought it in the 1980s or 1990s. So it's been around a long time. I don't know if it's my oldest. I don't think it's my oldest WIP. And it was one of those that I had got stuck on and I just wasn't enjoying, but I'm over that now, and I thoroughly enjoyed working on it through Springo. Really, really liked it. All right, so the next one, P Springo. I am stitching a Lynart piece, and P for yellow pot. Again, this is an old WIP, so what I tried to pick old ones as much as I could that would fit in with the letters for Springo, because I want to get some of these old ones done and dusted. So this is Yellow Pot by Lynart. That's what I call it. It only has a number, 34510. Sorry. Love this one. This was going to be for, when I first got married, it was going to go in our master bedroom because the colours were yellow and blue. We got married in 99 and it didn't happen, obviously. This is another one where I got stuck on. I wasn't really enjoying it, and you can tell that it's old because I still have evidence of when you used to put masking tape around all the edges to stop them fraying, the fabric fraying. Yeah, that's how old this is. Anyway, this got called 3 times and I put a total of 2,611 stitches into it. I'll just move the needle minder out of the way, and I'll pop a photo up of where it was when I started, or when you saw it last time. And this is where it is now. I got a lot done on this. Look at that. I'm so happy with the progress of this one. Love it. So I could have kept working up here to do the flowers, but then again I went, I'm going to get stuck with the boring pot and not going to want to stitch on it. So I purposely worked all the way down here. I put all this in, and then over here, if you see on the pattern, down the bottom of the urn and its stand, there are some flowers down here. So that's what these are down here coming in there. Are they on the right side? Yes, they're on the right side. I had to check them. But I'm following the pattern. Some of it you can't see because it is very similar colour to the background, but there's also the start of the frame. Oh, you can see that now. The frame that goes up there doesn't go all the way up. No, it just goes up a little bit, and then the same sort of over here there's a frame that comes down but not all the way. So I worked a lot on that pot and then started in on these flowers down here. So there's really not a lot to go on this when you look at it. There's the bunch of flowers down the bottom which I've started, and then like I've only got this rounded bit here, this pot to do, and then to finish off these bits a little bit more down here, but then to finish off up here. So it could be a finish this year because I'm trying to pop it in where I can for any challenges, so wherever it will fit. For any challenges I'm doing this year, my first goal for putting in anything for the prompts is looking at all my old WIPs first and see how they're going to fit. Otherwise, you know, it'll be tempting just to stitch the new things and start new things, and these ones will just languish and never get done. Alright, so the next one was the letter R, and I'm doing the Redoubt Rose Alphabet by DMC, and this is what it will look like when it is done. Sampler style, gorgeous rose, but tell you what, these leaves, they're huge. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of stitching in them. Oh, but I love the delicateness of the rest of it, except for those leaves. Those leaves could have been done a little bit more delicate, but anyway. So this got called 3 times for Springo, and I did a total of 1,669 stitches, and this is where it was last time you saw it. And this is where it is now. So I worked on, the last time I worked on just these leaves in here, and they are massive. So, and I do have a mistake somewhere, but yeah, you know, they're going to look okay. Once I add the back stitching, they're going to look fine, I'm sure. I think there's back stitching on there, but they'll be fine. So that is where it is now. So I'm hoping with these ones, if I can slot them in for lots of challenges, I might actually get a few finishes this year. And I was trying to do 60 finishes by the time I turn 60 next year. Is that next year? Yeah, next year. Gosh, there's no way I'm doing 60 finishes by next year. So I've abandoned that. That was a stupid thing to try and do. I mean, if I did all ornaments I could, but yeah, no. Alright, so next for I is I'll Be Home Cottages by Twin Peak Primitives. This I started, I think the sale was going, hosted by Pam from Just Keep Stitching, and they were probably not even halfway through the sale, I don't know, but that's when I started it, and then it languished for quite some while. Today's word of the day, languished by the sound of it. Anyway, you've probably all seen this. This is what it is, and I'm doing them all together. And I probably should have chosen a higher count fabric, but this was before I thought I could stitch on higher count fabrics. So I think all those so far have been kits, so whatever the kit fabric is what I've used. And this is a I think it's 16 count, I don't think it's 18 count, it's 16 count Rustico, I think, Ada. Anyway, I'll put a photo up of where it was last time I worked on it. I'll just show you where it is now, and then I'll show you the whole thing because it's like a bed sheet. Alright, so I finished off May. I think I just had the words to do and the sheepy bars. I think they're sheep down the bottom. And I'm not sure if I had finished that last time. I may have. So if I had, then this is what I did this time around. Oh, did I tell you how many stitches? Okay, so this got called 5 times over the course of Springo, and I got a whopping 3,307 stitches into it. So that would have been all of May, and then, sorry, I'm just going to move the needle minder so that you can see the start of June properly. So then I started June. That's right, I had last time I talked about how my border didn't match up. Yeah. Anyway, so I started June. There's a lot of stitching in these months, I tell you. So with this one, the pot is white, the chimney is white, so I backstitched around them in the same colour as the roof, just to make them stand out, because otherwise you're really not going to notice them. Because it was designed to be done on much darker fabrics, so they would have stood out. But on this Rustico, I think that's what it's called, fabric, white doesn't stand out that great. So that is June. Yeah. And then this is the whole thing. I have to move back for this, I think. There we go. So, January, February, March. Sorry, I've got my fan on because it's meant to be autumn, but Brisbane has forgotten that it's autumn and it's still really warm today. So I've got the fan on. And April, May, and then starting on June. So I'm loving how it looks. Really, really nice and pretty. But, you know, that's how big the fabric's rolled up a little bit at the bottom. So, you know, 6 more of them down the bottom. I do have enough fabric, it's just rolled up at the bottom. So this, definitely not going to get framed because framing is so expensive in Australia. And I'm not sure I'll actually be able to buy a frame from an op shop, secondhand shop, big enough for it. So I'm thinking I might make it into a quilt. So that'll be nice. Definitely not one the dog will be allowed anywhere near, or the cat. But yeah, I'm thinking that's what I might do with that. Okay, next is, go in there. And there's so many colours in this chart. Oh my goodness. They didn't use the same colours, or, you know, a few of the same colours each month. Next is N for Christmas Nutcracker by Bothy Threads. And this is what it will look like when it is done. Nutcracker by Bothy Threads. I love it. There's a whole lot of stitching in this. And that yellow border, yeah, that's stitched as well. So this was called 3 times, and I got in a total of 1,984 stitches. This is where it was last time you saw it. And this is where it is now. So our little Nutcracker has a face. I just have to do his hat, but then the Nutcracker is done. This has a long way to go, but he's looking so suave. Look at him. No. I think there's a little bit more, oh, I don't know where, I think there's a little bit more yellow or something to do up there, or something on the Nutcracker himself. But he's 3/4 done. He just needs a hat, but I needed to get his face in. Yeah, so that's the Nutcracker. Okay, and then G is Glass by the Waterfront. Sorry, banging and clanging. And this is by Country Threads, an Australian designer. That's what it will look like when it's done. Love these birds. And this was called 5 times, and I got 2,178 stitches in it through Springo. This is where it was last time. Alright, so that is where I'm at now. So I worked, alright, so I worked down here on fill in on the grass, and I think I've gone over as far as I can. I'm filling this in and then working my way up. I've done a bit of the pump, you can see there, and the handle bit starting to come in there, and then I've just got this bird to finish, and I think a little bit more of the blue sky, and it will be done. So this definitely will be a finish this year. And that's the whole thing. Really pretty. Fan, stop it. Love it. So I was really pleased when that got called 5 times. And the last time I was stitching on it, I thought, oh, can I get it finished with this call? But there was just too much left to do. I went, no, it's going to have to go away for another day. And then lastly is O Feathers. And this one took till about, I think, I don't know, it was the last week of the calls to actually get called. So I'd gone through a lot of the others and I still had nothing called in the O column. So, but then it got called, I think 2 days in a row, and then there was like a gap, and then it was called again. So it was quite close together. So this is what I'm talking about, O Feathers by Rosewood Manor. And this is in honor of our neighbourhood peacock. I'm not going to put in the letters and the date, I don't think. I'm just going to do the peacock. I don't really want to put my initials or date on there. I don't see a need for that. So I think this was charted in some week's dye works or something or other. Let me see. Sulky. Yeah, sulky threads. Sorry, not weeks, sorry, sulkies. I don't have any, and I'm not going to buy any. Just don't want to. So I converted it using DMC colours, so it's going to be looking a little bit different, but it's not too bad. So this is where it was last time you saw it, and this is where it is now. So did I say how much I got? It got called 3 times, 1,942 stitches in it, and that's where it is now. So I got a lot done. Now I don't know why I point out my errors, but I feel I need to. There's a 1 stitch out somewhere. Everything is like 1 stitch off. But so far, it is not affecting the pattern, and I haven't run into an issue of like emblems or running into each other. Some maybe don't have as big a gap between them as they should, but anyway, doesn't matter. But I got the peacock in, and there's a little bit more to do around his head. But I got him in, so he's not as bright as the one on that she has used sulkies for, whatever they're called. Oh no, it's not too bad. So that's her peacock colouring. I guess mine's not too bad then, is he? Yeah, it's not too bad. So that is O Feathers. Pretty. This one, before I was stitching on it for Springo, it was one of those ones that intimidated me because there's lots of little bits of all the colours, so there's nothing together that, so I'm trying to say, lots of carrying of threads or lots of stopping and starting of a colour. So if you wanted to do like that light bright green, you got to stitch that, stop, cut off your thread, go over here, stitch that if you don't want to carry across. And that's what I was doing when I initially started stitching this. And now I don't care if I carry. So this is the back, and you can see me carrying threads across, and that has made it easier to stitch, because I was getting frustrated that I'd have to do like 6 stitches and then cut the thread and then start again in another spot. And I like to do the loop start method, and that's just drives me batty all the time. And then my threads get shorter and shorter for the loop start. So, and I thought, well, I'm just going to carry it across, and hopefully you can't see the threads too bad from the back when I go to frame it or whatever I do with it. But I saw a trick somewhere that to mitigate that, because it's white fabric, so it's light, and to stop the threads being seen so much, you back it with something a bit darker. So rather than putting white behind it, you put something a bit darker, not too dark that it makes your fabric look anything other than white, but something a bit darker. So I've got to experiment with that when it comes to framing. But if anyone else has any tips or tricks, if you've carried thread and it's going to be seen when you frame it, when you back it, if you have any tips and tricks to help with that, please let me know. All right, so that was Spring Go. So that's a whole lot of stitching I got done in the first 25 days of April. Now I've been talking too much, I need a drink. So I got over 1,000 stitches on each of those pieces. One I got over 3,000, one I got over 2,000. So that's a whole lot of stitches. And that got me thinking that I need to probably play those games more often, where I just pick a handful of projects, not too many, and then that enables me to get a lot of stitches in. So when I play other games like ABC Ingo and I can't remember what the other one is that they play, Bringo, they all have a prompt of choose a whip with a dog, or something, all like different prompts, and you've got to make your whips fit in the prompt. So I'm going to be really smart and choose a whip that's got lots of different things that can fit lots of different prompts, then I get lots of progress on them. It's a whole lot of lots. Anyway, that's how my brain was working when I came out with that idea. Whether I put it into practice is another matter. Alright, so after Spring Go finished, the 25th was the last day, which is Anzac Day here in Australia, and because I was playing Spring Go and I was focused on that, I didn't pull out my poppies to work on this year, unfortunately. So I need to make sure I get that pulled out next year for Anzac Day. Alright, so after the Spring Go, I then decided to focus on my WIP Go calls for January and February. I'm still way behind on WIP Go. May's numbers have been called, but that doesn't mean anything because, you know, I'll actually show you my WIP Go board. Alright, so even though, you know, Jessie Marie calls are 2 numbers every month, it doesn't mean that that's what I work on for that month, and it doesn't mean that I don't work on other projects. So here's my first page of my WIP Go board. Right, you can see that I have, so when they're called, I go around them with a highlighter. When they're completed, I colour them in, and each WIP Go call is 3 sessions. So that's got 2 on it, that's got 2 on it, this has got 1, and that's got 1. These are finished. All these ones that are coloured in are finished. So even though this one hasn't been called yet and this one hasn't been called yet, I've still worked on those projects. So each time I work on a project, I tick it off. And some down here you'll see are coloured in and completed. It's had 3 sessions on it, but it hasn't been called yet. So my goals are like, I keep track of the month they get called in, but they're like a yearly thing. So by the end of the year, I need to have all these done, and on each of my 5 boards, it's the same. I need to have them all done. So I'm not going to worry that in May I need to work on what was called number 3, 5, what was it? Where's May? Yeah, number 5 and number 19, I think, was May. So that's, you know, Arnott's on the first board and Simplicity on the second board, which actually will actually get marked off. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Alright, anyway, so when Spring Go finished, I thought, let me try and catch up on some WIP Go calls and try at least to get those projects moving in a timely manner. So the first one I picked was Floral Blush Profile, and this is a Lynart kit. Again, is it Lynart? Yes, it is. And I think, I don't know if this was, it might have been a January one, I don't remember. This is a really old one too. That's what it's going to look like, and I do have the matching one, which is like a frontal view, I think it's called. of the same flower. Now these were bought early 2000s because I was going to stitch these, get them framed and put them behind our bed in our master bedroom where we built a new house in 2004. Didn't happen, obviously, because there's still a WIP. But anyway, this is what it looked like last time you saw it. And this is absolutely massive. It is a freaking bed sheet. So it's going to be big. And this was a kit, so I don't know what this fabric is. It's a linen of some sort, but it's also printed. So it's got like the shading in the background is already printed onto the fabric. I'm just trying to fold it so it's a bit more manageable. And this is where it is now. So what did I get on this? 821 stitches. And that was all around here. So I did some of the pink and the yellow. And I thought, oh wow, that's coming along really, really good. I'm getting a lot done. And then I had another look at the picture and went, that is just a really small leaf compared to the rest of the flower. So I thought, well, that's not going to take long to finish. Oh my goodness. Alright, so what I'm doing, that bit that I just stitched, is this bit down here. See that, the green, that pink and the yellow there? That is what that is. So look at all this. Oh my goodness me. Golly gosh. That's a lot of stitching and I've got 2 of these. Gosh. Alright, so that anyway, that's what I did. 821 stitches. Whew. Got some massive, massive projects. Oh no, I'm dropping everything. So, what else do I want to say? Oh yeah. I think the reason, because I seem to be getting a lot of stitches done. So 821 stitches for a night is quite good. And I think what the reason I am getting a lot more done is I've changed where I'm stitching. So I'm actually stitching in my office now because I think I said this last time, where I was stitching at the dining table, the chair's just a dining chair and it's got not a lot of support obviously. And last time I tried to stitch there, it was hurting my back. And I think I get a lot more distractions out there. So I sit in the office now. You know, family still comes in and chats and wants me to go and do stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I also have started watching a true crime podcast, which she also loads the video of the podcast up onto YouTube. It's Annie Elise. I don't know if I mentioned her before, but I will just cue 3 or 4 of her videos. They all go for like an hour or so each, and I'll just sit and listen. I don't need to watch, I just listen. And they're so riveting, the true crime stories that she goes through. And I just stitch away while I'm listening, and I think that really works for me. It's amazing. Anyway, next. Okay. Secret Garden by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Amy Stewart. And this, I'm pretty sure this was a WIP Go call as well. I'm not sure which one. This is what it will look like when it is completed. I'm sure you've all seen it. It is massive. And I got, this is where it was last time you saw it. And I got 685 stitches into it. Now last time I talked about my full coverages, I said that I was going to change them all to 18 count. So I bought as much 18 count Aida as I could find. I think I got 3 meters. There was 1 meter from one shop, 2 meters from another shop. And then I went to measure some out to restart this on 18 count. And the 1 meter one was not big enough, was not wide enough for this stitch. I'm going, well, that's just ridiculous. So I'm going to have to buy 2 meters, cut it down. I'm going, that is massive. It's bed sheet size. Really ridiculous. So I decided to give it a go on, oh, this bag don't want to come off. Give it a go on 25 count and see how I went, and it wasn't a problem. So I may just stick to the 25 count for all my full coverages now while I can. If I get to the stage where my eyes get too bad or get too old, whatever, I'm never going to finish these in my lifetime anyway. And I do it because I enjoy stitching on it. And if I get to the stage where it's consistently a problem, I'll just give up, donate them to someone else. Someone else can finish them for me or can have them, whatever. But anyway, so I stitched on 25 count and that is where it is now. So 685 stitches. Hopefully you can see a difference. And yes, there's counting errors, but you know, I make it work. So I think around here somewhere, some of this grey down here is just in the wrong spot down here or something, I don't know. So I'm stitching around it and I'm just going to make it work. I just fudge, you know. I'm not going to unpick and try and work out where I went wrong. That's just too time consuming. But yeah, so anyway, so I was pleasantly surprised that I could stitch on that. So now I've got all that 18 count, and I think what I might do is dye some and use it for my, what's it called? Hawk Run Hollows. I have a lot of the Hawk Run Hollow patterns that I want to stitch. So I think I might use them for that, because they need quite large pieces of fabric, and 18 count I think if I dye it will work quite well. Alright, so next I decided, oh no I didn't decide, it was also a WIPS Go call. The 2025 Sal by Heaven and Earth Designs, and that's the one I'm doing, called Unicorn Valley. It's got the pretty flamingos down the bottom, this pagoda and this massive waterfall at the back. And this is where it was last time you saw it. Alright, just folding it so that I can show you. And on this one, I got in 632 stitches. And a lot of that you might not be able to see because it's actually here, the white, it's not actually white, it's another colour, but in the waterfall. So I'm hoping you can see what I did. So 632 stitches, and this one I'm staying on the 25 count, 1/1. And I know I am really far behind. The second installment's come out, I haven't even finished the first page. There's no way I'm getting the 6 pages done this year, but I'm okay with that. I'll never stitch all the others anyway. I didn't really like many of the others. Drinks on the Beach is the only other one that I'd probably stitch out of them all anyway, so what's the point of having the charts if I'm not going to stitch them, you know? So I haven't even finished last year's one, and I'll probably sign up for next year's as well without finishing this year's, and then I'll have 3 on the go of their stitch alongs. Last project to show you, again another WIPS Go call, and it's Autumn Meditation by Carolyn Manning. This was in a magazine, Just Cross Stitch magazine maybe. And oh wait, I've got it here. It is Just Cross Stitch December 2020, and that is what it's going to look like when it is done. Mine's a little different in colours because I think when I started this I didn't have the full set of DMC, so I just used what I had in my stash already. And this one I got 815 stitches in, and that was last night I worked on this one, so this is the last one. And then today for the final final day of April, I will just pick another WIPS Go call. Okay, there we go. So this is a photo of where it was before, and then this is where it is now. And I worked up, I wanted to get to the top left hand corner, so I worked my way up and then worked across, and that is the top left hand corner. This is going to be so pretty when it's done. So pretty. And you'll see the difference in the colours that I've chosen. The border makes it really obvious here, because her border is dark, like a dark brown, but I've replaced that dark brown with this like a mustardy, goldy colour. Yeah, because I think she called for, wait, I've got them here somewhere. They weren't DMC. I think I converted them all. Oh, here it is. Alright, she used Classic Colourworks. So I converted them all to DMC. And that is what I came up with. It's really pretty. I am loving it. So that's the edge, left edge. These ones here are up too far. See, the top of those green ones is meant to be the same in line with that. But I started them on this one, and they should have been on this little stitch there sticking out. They should have been down a couple of stitches, but it doesn't matter. Not going to worry me. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. So that is all my stitching for the last 2 weeks. So plans. Tomorrow is May, and in May I'm stitching along with Laura from I Stitch Birds, and I think Sarah from the Stitcher Mummy is doing it as well. And we're doing the Italian cycle race, and I can't remember what it's called in Italian, but anyway, Italian cycle race. That's what I'm doing, but it doesn't start until the 9th of May, I think. So I did ask everyone to vote on the project I'm working on, and that is Simplicity by Dimensions kit that I have. I didn't bring it. I'll insert a photo. And what you do on that one is the amount of kilometers they cycle every day is how many stitches you do. So if they cycle 262 kilometers for the day, you do 262 stitches that day. They do have rest days as well, but it goes until the end of the month, I think, or maybe a little bit longer. So I'm joining in with that, but I thought, well, that's going to be a really boring Flosstube when I come back next with just one project. So what I've decided to do is stick to that one project for the cycle stitches, and then stitch something else after that for the day. So normally I start a project after dinner and stitch through until bedtime. And I don't really like changing projects, but like I said, one project's going to be really, really boring. It's going to be a 5-minute video. Here it is where it started. Here I am now. That's it. End of story. So I decided to do just the cycle stitches for that day, or round it up probably, and then choose another project to follow on for the rest of the night. And I'm going to be using my temperature stitching to catch up on that for the remainder of the night. So temperature stitching, I got the idea from Jen, the caffeinated stitcher, something like that. And you pick 10 WIPS, and the second digit of the temperature for the day, the max temperature for the day, you assign a project to each of those. So you've got a project assigned from 0 to 9, and then whatever the temperature is for that day, that's what you stitch. So for example, I think my 0 is yellow pot, which you saw earlier. So any day temperatures that end with a 0, I put 100 stitches on that yellow pot. Now I didn't have everything organized. I'm really far behind on my temperature stitching. Yes, 0 is yellow pot. So yesterday I went through and worked out what all the temperatures were from when I stopped keeping track or haven't stitched up to today. So today I used the forecast temperature, and my plan is in May, starting tomorrow, I'm going to make sure that I do my temperature stitching and then something else, probably a WIP go call, because the cycling race doesn't start until the 9th. So up until the 9th, it'll be my temperature stitching for that day, and then probably a WIP go catch up. And I'm also going to try in those, like for tomorrow, say it's yellow pot, do my 100, but then also do extra 100, because I worked out my catch up for my temperature stitching, and it is really, really sad. They're the ones, so that is 1 stroke is for every time, every day we've had that temperature that I should have done my temperature stitching for. Alright, so the worst is 8, and I owe that 1,700 stitches. Right, so that is my goal throughout the month of May, to do my temperature stitching, but also catch up on my temperature stitching for previous days missed. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense in my head. I don't know. But some of them are easy, like 0, I only owe 200 stitches. So that's 300 stitches. I can get that done in a night easy. So that'll knock that one off. But I don't know whether to start on the smallest one or start on the biggest one. Anyway, so that's my plan. Anyway, so I want to try and catch up on my temperature stitching. And that should then give me more projects to show rather than the one on the next Flosstube. And what else did I say? Okay, and then on the days off, they're rest days, I'll do a whip go stitch. So anyway, they're the plans. Oh, here it is. Giro. I don't know. My husband's Italian. You think I'd be able to speak Italian? No. I'm half Italian. Giro d'Italia. Giro d'Italia. I can't get my Italian accent going. Anyway, so they're the stages and they're the stitches for each day. So the maximum, biggest one is 226 stitches by the look of it. One day's only got 14 stitches. I'll roll that into the next day, I think. Yeah, anyway, so that is really cool. It goes 9th of May to the 1st of June. 1st of June is the last day. So that is going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to that. I should get a fair bit of progress on that simplicity. That'll be really cool. Anyway, that's it for me this time around. I don't think I have anything else to cover. Quick shop update. I've loaded some project bags in yesterday, day before yesterday. A few of them have sold out, so there's a couple left. And my shop is really, really depleted of project bags at the moment because I can't seem to catch up on all the floss drops that people are ordering. So this is what I'm talking about. I've just happened to have some here on my desk. So these are like the toil ones that I've got in the shop. So I've got lots of floss drops in the shop, and I do have some printed ready to go, but I can't catch up, and people are ordering them, which thank you. I love that people are loving them, but that's what I'm spending my days doing at the moment, is just doing the orders for the floss drops, and I'm not getting a chance to sew many bags. So that's why there's not many bags in my shop. So I need to find more hours in the day, but I'm so very appreciative of all my gorgeous customers and how you are loving the products I have in my shop. Thank you so, so much. And I plan to have some bags very, very soon. Some more bags in there very, very soon. Anyway, that is it from me. Thank you so much for coming along to my little corner of the cross-stitching interwebs. And yeah, enjoy what you are stitching. Happy stitching. Stay safe. And until next time, bye-bye.